Hey everybody, welcome back to the Carryandcut YouTube channel. And if you're new here, I sure do appreciate you stopping by and watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also leave a comment down below. Alright, and today we have a really cool knife for you guys to take a look at here. It's one that I've been wanting to take a look at for a very long time. And my good buddy Neil Knight over there at the Knight's Edge YouTube channel, make sure you go check him out. He's definitely gaining a lot of traction now. He has a super cool channel, has a lot of awesome knives on there, and just some really great content, does a lot of live streams. It's just a really good dude overall. I mean, heck, he sent me this knife and one other one for me to take a look at too. And they're definitely both, you know, high dollar knives, I guess you could say. And it's just really cool for him to actually send that over to me for you guys to take a look at and for me to show you. So this is the Hinder Xm18 3.5 inch Skinner blade shape. And this is definitely the blade shape that I have always been really intrigued with. It's one that I have really always wanted. You know, I've been seeing Hinder knives for a long time now. And really, as soon as I got into knife collecting, I, you know, have been, I guess, enamored is the right word, you know, terminology on it that you could say about these knives. You know, something about that, you know, high-end production, you know, kind of that mid-tech tier of knives. These are, of course, USA made. I want to say somewhat small batch, I guess you could say. And it's just a really great, you know, hard use, everyday carry knife. And this is a knife that you're gonna be able to, you know, beat the crap out of. It's gonna just keep on coming back. Of course, you got titanium frame lock on it. This one has like the kind of battle bronze anno on the actual frame lock section. It does have a titanium, I guess not really a liner, it's a titanium scale, but then it has a G10 overlay on top of it. And you can get you know, actual other titanium scales for the front side that makes it a whole titanium knife. But those are definitely, they're not cheap. They're going to run you, you know, almost over $200 just for that front scale alone. So these are definitely not a cheap knife whatsoever. And let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. The price of this thing right now, there is a huge restock of these here recently. So it's kind of crazy. And there's a whole bunch of different blade shapes you can go for. But they do have some of these available. I will try to link some in the description below if you would like to take a look at. They're not affiliate links, nothing like that. But they are $425. So that's, you know, going to be for the 3.5 inch and for the 3 inch. Also, I think the Eclipse is right around the same price. The Xm24, it gets over that $550 price range, I'm pretty sure. But these are exceptionally made pocket knives. They are, you know, super heavy duty, hard use. I mean, just look how thick that thing is. I mean, the blade thickness alone is over 1/4 inch or just right at 1/4 inch. This is definitely just a very overwhelming, you know, knife, I guess you could say. It is just a whole entire chunk. If you've never, you know, experienced a knife like this, so, you know, actually a hard use, this is the first one that I've ever even got to take a look at. You know, I like to think that there's a lot of knife people out there, but it just seems like everybody that I come in contact with in my day-to-day life, you know, workers whatsoever, there isn't that many people that actually collect knives or at least have the same kind of passion that I do for them. So I've never really seen one of these in the wild until just now. So I've been, you know, saving my pennies and nickels and stuff, trying to get one of these, and I'm going to eventually one day. I just have not pulled the trigger on it. Right, for some reason, I keep just buying $200 spider codes and stuff like that, and should just save my money to get one of these. But for the time being, this is the closest thing I have to it. So Neil, really do appreciate you sending this over to me, and just the overall attributes of it. You know, I love the weight of it. It's, you know, that for one thing right there, just it just feels like you could really, I think I made a short and said you could take on the world with this knife, and I really do mean it. This thing is just incredible. The fit and finish is awesome. Really do love the lockup. I know people were having like lockup failures, I guess you could say, with these knives. I don't know. People were doing the spine whack test, and they were breaking, you know, disengaging the lock and all that kind of stuff. But I don't really think that's going to be, you know, a giant thing to worry about. Average people are not using their knives for that kind of scenario. But this blade shape in particular, I really do love the Skinner grind. You know, I'm kind of a Nessmuck fan, I guess you could say. It has that long sweeping belly to it, and it's just really great for, you know, some draw cuts. And yeah, just really, really cool. But they do have, of course, they have a Warncliffe, they have a sheep's foot, they have a spear point, they have it's called a spanto. It's like a spear point tanto type deal. And I almost think that I could even go for the 3 inch version. I'm really glad that Neil let me check this out and see, because, you know, it's a pretty major investment. But these do hold their value very well if you were going to get into something like this. I know all these American-made, you know, high-end production knives, you can find the same exact knife for more than retail used on eBay right now. So it's just kind of crazy, especially when you get that front scale on it. You're talking over $600 some for these things. And they do have all their own proprietary hardware. As you can see, the pocket clip screws are going to be a Phillips head. They actually use Allen screws for the actual barrel spacers kind of deal they have going on there. The pivot is custom, of course. It has like a flathead type deal. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but they do have one other cool thing about these knives. They have like a tri-way pivot system, it's called. So in the actual box, he actually sent me the whole entire box that it came with. Super nice packaging. They're just a, great company over here. And another cool thing about Hinder knives, they are made here in, it's kind of like a north central Ohio, and I'm in the southeastern part of Ohio. So they're only like an hour, not even an hour and a half away from me, Rick Hinder's actual production facility where they actually make these knives. So it's really cool. Just a little fun fact that they are somewhat near to me, I guess you could say. And I know they don't really, I don't think they let anybody in their actual production place, and they don't sell anything like at their manufacturing spot. At least I don't think so. But the tri-way pivot system is really cool. They get, you got your phosphor bronze, you got your thick, I don't even know what those are. It's like a thick, some sort of, I don't even know what kind of pivot that is. It's like a bushing, I guess you could say. But there's also your nylon in there, and they also have bearings too. So, of course, this one is running the bearings. And I think I might do a disassembly video on this thing too. But just the action on this thing, I mean, I know the blade is incredibly heavy, but the action on this thing is just super drop shut. Really nice. You can do that blade flick. The flipper tab works super well. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of these flipper tabs, and they are, it's definitely prominent. It's right there on your finger. It is, pretty aggressive, but it does work very well. And they are the thumb studs. These thumb studs actually work for the over travel stops. They're, kind of like a stop pin, I guess, for these knives too. They do have another stop pin on the inside, but that just kind of helps it out another way. So it's pretty cool. One thing about this knife that you really have to be very careful about where you're placing your fingers on this lock bar. I know, like right here when I'm trying to do the thumb studs, like right there, I got my finger on that actual lock bar and it will not open. So you really have to get your fingers out of the way, and then those thumb studs work just fine. That is just something that you need to work with and play with and be aware of when you're using this knife, that if you put any pressure on this lock bar, the damn thing will not open. It is the craziest thing to me, because I have other frame locking knives and it doesn't really matter where you keep your fingers at. Let's just take a look at this Ferrum Forge Aluris, and I guess I don't really know what the difference is, why there's so much pressure on the lock bar on this knife versus the other ones. Not really sure what the case of that one is. You can even reverse flick this one right off your finger with your finger resting on the lock bar, but that's a whole entire different thing. I'm not really sure why. Not sure why. But overall though, this thing is really cool. Let's go ahead and do let's get a weight on this thing. That's the most substantial thing, the weight, if you were going to be getting one of these. So we're looking at 5.5 ounces. So not too terrible. You can definitely feel it in the pocket though. If you were wearing some gym shorts, this thing, it'd probably pull your pants down. So let's go ahead and check out the little overall size from, let's do the blade edge right there from the tip. We're looking at 3.5 inches of blade. Sharpened edge is right about 3 1/8 of an inch. Overall length of the knife is almost, it's about 8 1/4, I guess you could say. Yeah, and the overall blade thickness there, we're definitely coming in at, it might not be a 1/4 inch. It's definitely an 1/8 inch. I don't know why I said 1/4 inch. That's way more than that. But yeah, let's go with go ahead and go with the 1/8 inch in the blade stock thickness. My calipers are not liking life anymore, so definitely pretty. It's still overall a very thick knife, and it works very well. Sorry if you can hear the screaming upstairs. The kiddos are playing around up there. Must be having a meltdown. So on the overall consensus of this knife, I'm definitely enthused with it. Really do love these things, and makes me really want to get one. So Neil, really do appreciate it. Why don't we do a couple size comparisons before we end this thing up against the Benchmade Presidio 2. This is the really other most heavy duty knife that I have, and surprisingly this Benchmade is actually longer than the Xm18 3.5, which is kind of crazy to me. It doesn't really feel like it's such a big knife compared to this one. I don't know, maybe a little bit, but this is my hard use everyday knife that I take for work sometimes, and I'd love to switch it out with this thing. So that's pretty cool. How about up against the 940 Osborne? This is one that a lot of people know the size of. So we're getting somewhat into similar territory there. This one's just obviously a lot thicker. How about the Spyderco Enduro? This one's definitely going to be longer. Yeah, it is. It's definitely longer in overall. This is almost a 4-inch blade right here. So definitely longer in that sense right there. This is a pretty cool vintage Enduro. And let's do a Spyderco PM2 just because why not? So there's up against the Spyderco PM2. This one's rocking the Flytanium brass scales, S45VN blade, and the Lynch Northwest deep carry clip. That is one thing that I imagine you can get whole sorts of aftermarket stuff for these knives. You can definitely get a deep carry clip for this thing, and if I did get one, I am sure I would definitely get the deep carry clip on this just to make it ride a little bit lower in the pocket, because I'd be definitely afraid of this thing getting snagged on my you know, I wear a safety vest at work all the time, and sometimes my vest will get, you know, snagged on these spoonbill clips. And I've lost 2 knives at work actually now. So this 940, I lost it for a couple days sitting on a barrel trailer on the highway. So glad I ended up getting the deep carry clip on this thing, and I haven't had any problems with it since. But that is another thing. That's really the only thing that I would change. Other than that, my only somewhat con is the pressure on the lock bar. You just got to, and it's not really a con, you just got to be careful what you're doing and be conscious of it. So other than that, even for having such a you know, thick actual blade stock thickness, this thing does slice very well, and it goes through paper. You know, let's just go ahead and get a little piece here and give her a try. So they got a super sharp edge on it. I'm not sure if Neil put this edge on it himself or if it came like this. This is a very good slicer for actually how thick the overall geometry is. But just a killer knife overall, and is definitely one of my grail knives. And I can't thank you enough, Neil, for sending this over to me. Make sure you guys go check out his channel, give him a like, follow him, subscribe him, all that fun stuff. Hit the subscribe button. It's free and it helps him out, and I'm sure he would definitely appreciate it. So until next time, guys, thanks. Appreciate it. Peace.